The Continental League's inaugural season saw an iconic record fall and controversy ensue. And another record was broken in 1962. By us this time. Welcome back to the Baseball Dreamland channel, where we're going to continue our Continental League challenge with the Minnesota Twins in Out of the Park Baseball 25. To recap 1961, our Twins finished in third place in the Continental League's first season, 9 games behind the Houston Colts. Houston fell to the San Francisco Giants, who went on to defeat the Milwaukee Braves to win the World Series. Oh yeah, and Leon Wagner of the Atlanta Peaches broke Babe Ruth's home run record, not Roger Maris. Our goal remains to win the World Series before the Washington Senators or any of the other Continental League clubs do. Since the Giants won the World Series, the save carries over into 1962. My community has decided that after failing to move to Minnesota for the 1961 season, owner Calvin Griffith continues to seek the relocation of the Senators from Washington. There were plenty of relocation choices, and the community voted to move the Senators to Montreal. It's a logical choice for a few reasons. With the Blue Jays breaking Canada into Major League Baseball, Montreal became a sensible target. It's a large market where Griffith was born and has Jerry Park available to host a Major League Baseball club. Since the Montreal Expo wasn't held until 1967, Montreal will use the name of its previous minor league team, the Royals. And of course, there's the beautiful irony of the Washington Baseball Club moving to Montreal, when in real life this relocation occurred in the opposite direction. But this leaves DC without a club for the 1962 season. Of course, this relocation doesn't excuse us from our challenge parameters. The Montreal Royals are still the would-be Twins, so I still fail if they win the World Series. The owners of the Peaches, Colts, Mets, and Rangers have begun exploring new ballparks for their clubs. The Mets look keen to move to a new ballpark dubbed Shea Stadium for the 1963 season. Meanwhile, Colt Stadium, Metropolitan Stadium, and the Polo Grounds will play slightly differently in 1962. No Minnesota Twins won Gold Gloves in 1961, but 3 members of other Continental League clubs did. Rocky Bridges of the Dallas Rangers, Irv Noren of the Toronto Blue Jays, and Lou Johnson of the Atlanta Peaches. Breaking Babe Ruth's single-season home run record and winning the Triple Crown was just barely enough for Leon Wagner to win the Most Valuable Player award ahead of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays. Rookie sensation Dean Chance of the Houston Colts ran away with the Cy Young and Rookie of the Year awards, and Luis Arroyo of the Yankees earned the Fireman of the Year award. Without new coaches in the free agent pool, my only order of business was filling my open third base coach role with Tyler Zadroga. His ratings aren't good, but his personality and preferences helped upgrade my staff from feuding to unhappy. Wheelock Whitney was kind enough to reward our third place finish by lowering our budget heading into 1962. We'll have the 5th highest spending power in the Continental League and 17th highest in Major League Baseball. Carl Bolden, Tom Satriano, and Chuck Hinton all received significant raises after their excellent performances in 1961. Unfortunately, this results in an increased payroll and less money to spend on rookie free agents. Speaking of rookie free agents, here is the pool of the first-year free agent position players. Our scout loves this 1962 class. That's 14 5-star potential teenagers available to sign. And here is the less talented pool of first-year free agent pitchers. There's a lot of great ones in there, including Fergie Jenkins, but the class lacks depth. So after playing 10 days of free agency, it was painfully clear that the out-of-the-park baseball AI cannot handle rookie free agents with any level of competency. So I canceled all signings, created a 35-round free agent draft, and designed a custom lottery system that distributes the first 163 draft picks based on budget space available to mimic realistic signing patterns. This lottery handed the Houston Colts the number 1 pick with just 3% odds, though it's their only lottery pick. The Rockies and Rangers also got first-rounders, while our Twins got 9 picks, with the earliest being the 40th overall. The Houston Colts selected Fergie Jenkins first overall and can pair him with reigning Cy Young Award winner Dean Chance. Rico Petrocelli joins the Colorado Rockies with the 7th pick, and Lou Piniella is drafted by the Dallas Rangers with the 18th pick. The Twins select first baseman Dalton Jones with our first pick and 40th overall. The Mississippi boy's an odd profile for a first baseman, but could be an on-base machine. We'll start him with AA Fox Cities. We selected Bob Montgomery out of Tennessee 4 picks later. He'll begin his career as an outfielder in A-ball with Duluth Superior, but we could use him as a catcher as well. His bat should play well in the Continental League if he can get there quickly enough. We also selected reigning College World Series Most Outstanding Player Bob Garibaldi, along with strikeout artists Al Stanek and Aurelio Monteagudo. These pitchers could make appearances in Minnesota as early as this season. We've landed 36-year-old third baseman Willie Jones from the Cincinnati Reds, where he rode the bench in 1961. Jones should be a big upgrade from Ed Sadowski, who was replacement level for us at third base last season. Elmer Vallo heads the other direction in the deal. We acquired him from the Senators at the trade deadline last season, and he was replacement level over 81 plate appearances. We also acquired 36-year-old starting pitcher Harvey Haddix and 42-year-old Diomedes Olivo from the Pittsburgh Pirates. The left-handed Haddix made 32 starts and collected 5 WAR last season in the far more difficult National League, so I'm hoping for big things in the Continental League in 1962. Olivo split the season between AAA Columbus and Pittsburgh last season, pitching 24 innings for the big club. He gets one more shot to hold off Father Time. Starting right fielder Dave Philly heads to Pittsburgh to complete the deal. He posted a 110 WRC plus after joining at last year's trade deadline, and his exit does leave a hole in our outfield. 41-year-old Jerry Staley is another bullpen addition. He posted 6 saves and nearly a full win above replacement between the White Sox and Indians last season. Our manager intends to use Staley in a setup role to begin the season. In exchange, we sent 18-year-old Richard Martin to Cleveland. He was our 11th round selection in the rookie free agent draft and never took the field for us. Now this may be the most important Rule 5 draft I ever participate in. The Continental League teams are going to be all over this draft pool. There are 3 catching options who are clear upgrades from my starter, Pete Daly. Gene Stevens' defense would make a great 4th outfielder, and 21-year-old Hank Fisher could have staying power on my starting rotation. The question is, will any of these players reach us at pick number 18? There are 5 Continental League teams in front of us, plus I'm sure some American and National League clubs will make picks as well. 46 players were taken during the draft. 39 of them were by Continental League clubs, so the talent migration continues, albeit slowly. Our first-round pick was 20-year-old catcher Bob Barton from the San Francisco Giants. He's yet to play above A-ball, but can grow into a good defensive catcher for us. We also acquired former Milwaukee Braves catcher Del Crandall. Amazingly, a second-round Rule 5 pick is an immediate upgrade over our starting catcher. 29-year-old reliever Dom Zanni was our 3rd pick, and he'll compete for a place in our already deep bullpen. When adding up the offseason moves, it looks good for us, primarily because of the Harvey Haddix trade. However, the one team we didn't want to see at the top was the Montreal Royals, and there they are. And despite the progress made on our big league roster, we failed to acquire a single top 100 prospect, so our system is tied for dead last with the Toronto Blue Jays. Say hello to your 1962 opening day Minnesota Twins. Our roster has improved substantially since the free agent draft from a season ago. We now have some 3-star players and only a handful of 2-star players remaining. It's a far cry from a World Series contender, but at least we've got a good shot to win the Continental League. We'll start that campaign in Atlanta to take on the home run champion himself, Leon Wagner. And there's no reason to wait, as Ed Boucher launches a 2-run homer in the top of the 1st. Daddy Wag steps up to the plate in the bottom half and picks up right where he left off in 1961. But then the pitchers shut the game down, with Tom Morgan retiring pinch hitter Art Lopez to preserve our 2-1 opening day victory. In other C-League action, Colorado hammered Buffalo 10-1. Gene Green hit a 3-run homer with 2 outs in the top of the 9th to give the New York Mets a stunning victory in Toronto. Mike McCormick and Dean Chance had a fantastic pitcher's duel in a 17-inning marathon that saw the Dallas Rangers emerge victorious over the Continental League champion Colts. We concluded April with a Walt Morin 3-run homer in the 6th inning off Rangers starter Tom Chaney, and we enjoyed a complete game gem by starting pitcher Ralph Terry. Terry moves to 3-0 and lowers his ERA to a sensational 0.86, but our bullpen somehow posted an even better 0.64 ERA, led by closer Tom Morgan's 7 saves. Ned Garver was our only reliever to surrender an earned run. That run prevention propelled our Twins to a 13-4 record, 1.5 games ahead of the Peaches. Right fielder Chuck Hinton led the position players with a 180 WRC+, and the only bad news from April is losing our starting catcher Del Crandall for a month with a hip strain. We're enjoying ourselves in Mile High Stadium. Billy Moran single caps an 8-run 5th inning, and a few innings later, Chuck Hinton caps our victory with his 7th home run of the season. That's our 5th in a row for a 19-12 May record to remain in first place ahead of Atlanta by half a game. Del Crandall, Hal Narrigan, Willie Jones, and Walt Morin all spent a good chunk of the month injured, so runs have been tough to come by. But youngster Ed Brinkman stepped up with an 868 OPS, while Tom Sturdivant and Joe McClain combined for 14 shutout innings from the bullpen. Now Dale Long smashes one all the way to the center field wall, which is 475 feet away at the Polo Grounds. Long rounds third and scores for an inside-the-park home run. We lost the game in the 12th when Diomedes Olivo uncorked a wild pitch with the bases loaded. We finished 17-11 in June to extend our lead over Atlanta to 2 games, and we hold the best record in baseball. Ace pitcher Harvey Haddock struck out 42 batters and now has a league-leading 112 on the season, while Ralph Terry collected 5 more wins for a league-leading 13 on the season. Mr. Whitney is happy with what he's seeing on the field, but I'm not making enough money or building my farm system to his liking. Looking for a bigger budget, so keeping on his good side is crucial. 20 trades were completed in Major League Baseball at the deadline. Highlights include the Orioles acquiring outfielder Norm Seaburn from the Kansas City A's, the Dodgers acquiring Kurt Simmons from the Cardinals, and the Tigers acquiring Bobby Shantz from the Pirates. We traded away fan favorite outfielder Chuck Hinton, reliever Jerry Staley, and catcher Pete Daly to the Chicago White Sox. It would be hard to ask for more from Hinton, who had 30 home runs, stole 23 bases, and accumulated 10 WAR in his season and a half as a Minnesota Twin. Jerry Staley's now been traded from the White Sox to the Indians, to the Twins, and now back to the White Sox in a span of 12 months. We acquire center fielder Jim Landis in the trade, who should produce similar offensive output as Hinton, but with far superior range in the outfield. He's collected 19 WAR in 5 seasons with Chicago. We finished July in Atlanta against Daddy Wags and his 42 home runs, but this Grand Slam belongs to Walt Morin. We trounced the Peaches 11-3 to complete a 3-game sweep. That's our 11th win in a row, and we're running away with the Continental League. Walt Morin led the team with 7 homers and a 992 OPS in July, and will shift to right field in place of Chuck Hinton. 18-year-old Dalton Jones will take over first base duties from here on out. Bob Turley went 4-0 with a 2.02 ERA, and our staff continues to lead baseball in run prevention by a wide margin. Del Crandall kept us on autopilot with this bases-clearing triple against the Buffalo Bisons. It's a 9-run inning, and we win the game 13-3 to finish August 11 games ahead of the Atlanta Peaches for first place. Tom Satriano parked 5 homers and posted a 1028 OPS to increase his season WAR total to a team-best 6.5. Harvey Haddock went 5-0 with a sub-2 ERA, and he's on Satriano's tail with 6 WAR. Paul Pettit, Bob Garibaldi, and Aurelio Monteagudo earned September call-ups as we seek our first postseason berth. 18 days later, Ken McBride stepped to the plate and smashed his first career home run. Tom Morgan retired Mickey Harrington to win the ballgame and clinch the Continental League pennant. We finished 19-7 in 17 games in front of Atlanta. Walt Morin goes off for 6 homers and an 1180 OPS in September, while Diomedes Olivo has pitched 31 consecutive scoreless innings out of the bullpen. On a sour note, we lost reliever Joe McClain for the season due to bone spurs in his elbow. The Orioles improved by 14 games from 1961 to top the American League with 95 wins, while the defending World Series champion San Francisco Giants just barely held off the LA Dodgers to win the National League. After facing each other 7 times in the World Series in 20 seasons, the Yankees and Dodgers will play in the wild card game. The Montreal Royals finished a distant 5th place, which means we can't lose our challenge this season, but we could win it. We finished 4th in runs scored and led the Continental League clubs in on-base percentage, strikeout rate, walk rate, and runs created. And we proudly finished with the league-worst 34 stolen bases. Our pitching staff led all of baseball in ERA, walk rate, and runs allowed, surrendering 78 fewer than the next best club. All this added up to a Major League best plus 263 run differential. Leon Wagner had a very disappointing finish to the 1962 campaign, finishing with only 56 home runs and failing to win the Triple Crown due to a 3rd place finish with a .351 batting average. He still finished first in 8 categories though. Tom Satriano and Ed Boucher finished in the top 10 in walks, while Jim Landis and Ed Brinkman made the leaderboard in sacrifice flies. Also, kudos to Veda Pinzone of the Cincinnati Reds for finishing the season on a 33-game hitting streak. Tom Satriano led the Twins with 99 runs scored, 19 home runs, 242 total bases, 109 walks, and 7 wins above replacement from the shortstop position. Chuck Hinton finished 2nd on the club in WAR despite getting traded at the July 31st deadline. All hail Houston Colts ace Dean Chance, who won the pitching Triple Crown with 24 wins, a 1.67 ERA, and 232 strikeouts for a whopping 12.7 WAR. That's the best mark for a pitcher since 1910, when Walter Johnson posted a 13.99 season. Twins closer Tom Morgan led the league in saves with 30, and Ken McBride finished with a league-best 221 BABIP. McBride, Ralph Terry, Harry Haddix, and Carl Bolden litter this leaderboard. McBride regressed back to 2.6 WAR after finishing with 6.4 last season, but Harvey Haddix stepped up with a 200 strikeout season and 6.8 WAR. Ralph Terry led the club with 19 wins and 241 innings pitched. Tom Morgan gave us 100 innings out of the bullpen, though wasn't dominant this time around. 43-year-old Diomedes Oliva was dominant with a full WAR in just 35 innings and no earned runs since May. Jim Pagliarone's 5-hit, 2-homer game for the Red Sox was the top hitting performance of the season. Norm Seaburn, Willie McCovey, and Steve Boros all hit for cycles that didn't make the list. Eddie Casco had a 7-hit game and didn't make the list either. Dean Chance's 11-inning shutout was the top pitching performance, and he had the 4th best as well. Ken McBride made the list too with a 2-hit shutout for our Twins. Congratulations to Stan Musial for registering his 3,500th career hit, Duke Snyder and Eddie Matthews on their 400th career home runs, and Robin Roberts for 250 wins and 2,000 strikeouts. After 8 scoreless innings, Joe Pepitone lifted a fly ball that was deep enough to score Bobby Richardson, which paved the way for Yankees closer Bill Henry to induce a fly ball to deep right center and gone. A walk-off home run for 38-year-old pinch hitter Gil Hodges, and the Dodgers advanced to the Continental Series. Wait for me, I want to celebrate too! Yay, yay! The Dodgers will face the Baltimore Orioles in one Continental Series, and we draw the defending World Series champion San Francisco Giants in the other. I think we've got an even matchup. If we remove Juan Marichal, Orlando Cepeda, and Willie McCovey from the Giants' postseason roster, the spotlight will be on Bill Barton, though, our Rule 5 pick from the Giants this past winter. Willie Mays will miss the postseason with a torn thumb ligament he suffered in August. Cepeda, McCovey, and Felipe Alou helped the Giants lead the majors in runs scored, but their poor defense, especially without Mays, is something we could exploit. Oh, who am I kidding? We don't have a chance, so I need some advice. Do the guys want the, we're just happy to be here speech, or the try not to embarrass me speech? I mean, I'm flexible because, we need a miracle here. Jim Landis' single scores Billy Moran, and Ed Boucher puts us ahead 3-0. Willie McCovey's solo homer tied the game in the 5th, and then Orlando Cepeda stepped to the plate in the 9th and parked a walk-off home run. Cepeda continued his assault on our pitching staff in Game 2, putting the Giants up 3, but we rallied. Tom Satriano's bases clearing triple tied the game in the 9th, and Jim Landis' single untied it. Tom Morgan retired Pete Runnels to save our first postseason victory. So we've got ourselves a series, folks. Let's come home to Minnesota and give the fans a show. We've got a situation brewing here, and Willie Jones puts a charge into one, and it's gone. We followed up our 5-run 9th in Game 2 with a 6-run first, and Bob Turley wraps up an easy 9-2 victory. We've got another lead, and Billy Moran sends a moonshot over the center field wall for a 4-1 lead. Tom Morgan retired Jesus Alou, putting us to win one game of the World Series. Willie McCovey took matters into his own hands in Game 5. This homer gave the Giants the lead, and this one in the 4th inning doubled that lead. But we rallied in the 9th again, because that's what we do. Juan Marichal was thrown 134 pitches and loaded the bases in the bottom of the 9th. Oh, I really thought we were going to do it there. But we still have 2 chances to pull off this series at Candlestick Park. Even our losses have been 1-run games. I don't know about you, but I'm believing in miracles right about now. Tom Satriano gives us a 2-0 lead at Game 6 with an opposite field homer, and here's Willie Jones extending our lead to 6-0. This isn't really happening, is it? An expansion team in their 2nd season taking down the defending World Series champions? Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Yes, I do. Unbelievable. I dedicate this win to all the OTP players out there who assemble 115-win teams and lose in the division series to an 85-win team, because today, I'm that 85-win team. Third baseman Willie Jones struggled mightily during the regular season and lost playing time to Billy Moran, but bounced back in a big way this series with 9 hits and 2 homers to earn MVP honors. Our bullpen was lights out as usual, especially Tom Morgan, who threw 6 2/3 scoreless innings. So do we play now? Jim Gentile opened Game 5 scoring with a 3-run homer off Don Drysdale in the top of the 1st, and then Drysdale surrendered another homer in the 1st, this one to shortstop Ron Hansen. Barney Schultz retired Jim Gilliam, sending the Orioles to their first World Series since moving to Baltimore. So it's Twins and Orioles in the World Series. The Orioles won more games in San Francisco, but this team looks decidedly less talented than the Giants. Stats-wise, they look amazing. They didn't score as much as San Francisco, but they're also the best defensive club in baseball. Jim Gentile supplied 41 home runs, while Steve Barber collected 20 wins, and their number 2 starter, Dick Hall, gets the start against Ken McBride in Game 1. The Orioles greeted us rudely with a first-inning grand slam by Sam Bowens and blew us out 13-5. Game 2 was much of the same, with a Ron Hansen triple opening the scoring in the 2nd, and Diomedes Olivo's scoreless streak ends with Hansen's 8th-inning home run. The Orioles win that one by a score of 8-1. Getting outscored 21-6 is a little more in line with my expectations going into this postseason, but let's get home and rebuild some momentum. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's hit far. That's okay, it's just 1 run. Let's get Ron Hansen here. Oh, okay, that's a 5-run first inning for the Orioles, and they would go on to win 12-2. We're playing for pride in Game 4, and Del Crandall cracked a 2-run double for our first lead of the series. But Gus Triando's double into the gap scored Brooks Robinson and gave the Orioles the lead, and they'll call on Barney Schultz to protect it, which he did by retiring Dalton Jones. The Baltimore Orioles are World Series champions. That concludes a World Series in which we were outscored by 29 runs, which is the largest differential in World Series history. Fun fact, the New York Yankees previously held that record by outscoring the Pirates by 28 in 1960, but they lost that series to Pittsburgh in 7 games. We didn't swing the bats terribly. Ed Boucher and Del Crandall supplied 7 hits each. However, we didn't hit a single home run, and they hit 8. Most of our pitchers ended up with double-digit ERAs, and World Series MVP Ron Hansen will live rent-free in their nightmares the entire offseason. My main takeaway from that World Series is how about that Continental Series win? In all seriousness, winning a postseason series is a massive overachievement, so thanks for the great ride, gentlemen. But the Orioles are the deserving champions with an 8-1 postseason record on top of their 95-win regular season. Congratulations to World Series MVP Ron Hansen and the players on their 1962 World Series championship roster. Before we head to 1963, it's time to free some funds to boost our chances in the rookie free agent draft. Tom Burgess has passed the first base torch to Dalton Jones and leaves after contributing 3 WAR over 2 seasons with the Twins. Ed Sadowski was just emergency infield cover for the 2 seasons he was here, and Paul Pettit was our two-way player, except he wasn't good at hitting or pitching. Thanks for making it to the 1962 season conclusion. You could help me out by doing all the things. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. Comment on your thoughts of the 1962 season and your ideas for 1963. And subscribe if you want to be notified of that 63 video. Plus, keep an eye on the community post because there will be another opportunity to vote on something of how the save's going to unfold next season. And I look forward to seeing you then.